I lost my mother, Kristen White Gould, on Flight 93, which crashed in Shanksville fighting the terrorists.
We lost our son, Todd Beamer, on Flight 93 in Pennsylvania.
My daughter's name was Amy O'Doherty. She was 23 years old. She worked for Cantor Fitzgerald.
My father's Donald Regan. He was killed in 9/11.
My firefighter friends and police officer friends died in their uniforms, serving this country and serving the city of New York, trying to save lives. So for me, they were government employees, they weren't civilians, and they were victims of a war.
Khalid Sheikh Mohammed boasts of planning the attacks that killed nearly 3,000 people on September 11th. And now, Attorney General Holder wants to try him in federal court, merely blocks from ground zero. Holder went to Capitol Hill to justify his decision, and a number of senators expressed outrage.
I believe this decision is dangerous. I believe it's misguided. I believe it is unnecessary. It represents a departure from our long-standing policy that these kind of cases should be treated under the well-established rules of war. The United States court system was not designed to try unlawful enemy combatants. And Mr. Holder, I don't think these are normal defendants. These are people we are at war with, and we are dropping bombs on them this very day, attacking their lairs wherever they hide. Military commission trials are fair. They are recognized not only by our country, but nations all over the world. Far from seeing our actions as some sort of demonstration of American fairness, I suspect our cold-blooded enemies and our clear-eyed friends both must wonder what is going on in our heads.
Prosecuting the 9/11 defendants in federal court does not represent some larger judgment about whether or not we are at war. We are at war, and we will use every instrument of national power, civilian, military, law enforcement, intelligence, diplomatic, and others, to win. We need not cower in the face of this enemy. Our institutions are strong. Our infrastructure is sturdy. Our resolve is firm, and our people are ready. By bringing prosecutions in both our courts and military commissions, by seeking the death penalty, by holding these terrorists responsible for their actions, we are finally taking ultimate steps toward justice. That is why I made the decision.
Can you give me a case in United States history where a enemy combatant caught on a battlefield was tried in civilian court?
I don't know. I'd have to look at that. I think that, you know, the determination I've made...
We're making history here, Mr. Attorney General. I'll answer it for you. The answer is no.
Well, I think...
The Golani case, he was indicted for the Cole bombing before 9/11, and I didn't object to going into federal court. But I'm telling you right now, we're making history, and we're making bad history.
But the real opposition comes from the American people, especially those who lost their loved ones on September 11th.
He's speaking in a world of fantasy, I think, about what he thinks or how the administration thinks this will go. The problem is there are many other people involved in this, like a judge and a jury, that may not necessarily see it the way he sees it or the way they see it. He dances around the question of why. Why are we really doing this? I mean, why aren't we just in a military tribunal? What's the motivation behind bringing it into a civilian federal court? And I think the answer to that is probably very interesting and probably something they'll never admit.
It is an injustice. It's a farce. It's a personal slap in the face, especially to those brave passenger and crew on Flight 93 who saved the Capitol. And the very same constituency in the Capitol is now supporting putting these terrorists on trial in a civilian court when they weren't Mirandized.
I was not at all satisfied with the rationale that I heard from the Attorney General as to the basis for his decision. Whatever his real reasons were, were not articulated.
What he's proposed to do is bring one of the biggest, baddest terrorists to the scene of his greatest triumph, let him represent himself in one of our magisterial courts, and run the show as a pro se defendant defending himself. They want to criminalize the defense of our country. I really believe that that's what they're doing. They trust nothing that has to do with the military.
I think even along those lines, but maybe worse, that they don't even believe in the Constitution. That's what I take extremely serious. And the fact that we are bending over backwards to instill a Constitution on a group of people that don't even want a Constitution, don't abide by it, don't respect it. I think that's a disgrace.
Attorney General thinks that this is going to be a walk in the park. It is not. He makes it sound as if he's got everything under control. But when push comes to shove, first of all, these fellas are innocent now until proven guilty because they're in our court of law and they're under our Constitution. Was my daughter was condemned and killed in an instant with no civil liberties, no constitutional rights.
The enemy was delighted with the pain and suffering and economic impact that they had on our country that day. In many ways, I'm sure it exceeded their expectations.
When you have a man like this who commands a tremendous attention from the media all over the world, that is a great opportunity for him to get his message out and to rally his jihadi brothers to go kill more Americans.
It's no longer the war on terror. I have to say it was a man-caused disaster that happened on September 11th. Are we absolutely nuts? Have we lost our brains here?
These terrorists, these murderers, are war criminals. They were captured on foreign land, and they are war criminals. They are not civilian criminals. I just don't understand how they can be so arrogant to do this.